Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is April the 23rd, 2020, and we're going to be taking a look at the fifth trumpet. Well, rather than look at the fifth trumpet, we're going to start off just by taking a look at the bottomless pit, and then we'll come back in the next video and we'll take a look at the application of the fifth trumpet. Okay, so Revelation 9 verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, and the smoke as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Okay. We know that a star, I didn't look up all of these definitions. We've spoken about most of these things before. A star is a messenger or an angel. So this is the fallen angel, and so this is going to be Satan. So I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Now this key is just, I don't remember what the key is. Let me keep going. A key is just the, I've looked up so many things. It's just the jurisdiction. It's just jurisdiction. He's given control over the bottomless pit, okay? And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. We know that the furnace is the furnace of affliction. So there's affliction going on there. And then smoke is wrath or anger. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke from the pit. The sun, of course, we know represents Yahushua and his word. And then the air represents Satan's kingdom, his jurisdiction, his area. And they were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Okay, so we're going to stop there and we'll look up the definitions. So we'll start with, I didn't look up star, but I have that on my third. We could take a look at that real quick in the third trumpet. I think. See. Stars. We'll just take a look at a couple of them because we don't want to spend too much time on that. We already know that. Where was thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. So it tells you there's the angels. And then if we go to Revelation, the Revelation is Revelation 1. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp two-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. And then it says, the mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. Okay, so that's our definition for stars. And then this is again Satan. He fell from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Now, and we'll come back I'll give a more detailed description of what's going on here after we go through the definitions, as I usually do. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose smoke out of the pit. Well, let's go ahead and look up bottomless pit. So bottomless, hold on a moment. Bottomless pit, right here. Okay, so let's see the word the Strong's value, G112. Now we can go here. Okay, I don't know why. That's a mistake, or I can't remember why I put it in there. Okay, and they besought him that he would not command them to go out into the deep. The deep is right here. Let's read this whole thing because this explains what the bottomless pit is. Here we go. And when he went forth to land, there met him out of the city of certain men who had devils long time, and wear no clothes, neither abode in any house, but in the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him, and with a loud voice said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus? O thou Son of God Most High, I beseech thee, torment me not. For he had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man, for oft times it had caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and in fetters. And he broke the bands, and was driven of the devil into the wilderness. And Jesus asked him, saying, What is thy name? And he said, Legion, because many devils were entered into him. And they besought him that he would not command them to go, into the deep. This deep word here is the same as the bottomless pit, or the bottomless part of it, the first part that we're looking at. And there was there and herd of many swine feeding on the mountain, and they besought him that he would suffer them to enter into them. And he suffered them. So they didn't want to go into the deep. They wanted to go into something else. Because the deep is really, it's just nothingness. That's all it is. It means that they would not have been able to go into another person or into anything else and torment him. They knew he was not going to let them go into another man and torment the man. So they said, hey, don't send us into the bottomless pit where we're not able to torment anybody, where we have to just sit there as prisoners. Let us go into the swine so we can torment them. Then went the devils out of the man and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the lake and were choked. So it seems like I can't really tell if they killed the swine or the swine killed themselves. That I'm not able to discern, and I didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. But the point of the matter is that for the demons, for these fallen angels, the deep here means that they were not able to torment that man or any animal. They had to just go out into nothingness. That was the point of this. So let's go into the next one. We don't need this. And when they shall have finished their testimony, that the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. Okay, I'm gonna have to tell you guys just plain out for you to understand these examples that I gave, because they're not all real clear. The bottomless pit is just exactly as it was given in that first example. For the angels, the bottomless pit is where they have to sit and they're not able to taunt and possess people or animals, Yahweh is keeping them under control. He's keeping them under lock and key because there's so many of them. There was 1,000 of them in that one man. Wait a minute. He said a legion. I heard that a legion could be up to 6,000 men. I think it started at like 1,000 men. I'm not sure. I heard two different things. I heard 1,000 one time and 6,000 on another different occasion. So I'm not sure which one it is, but it's a lot in one man. And I have a couple of parables for you here. I have a couple of more things that we can look at here. Revelation 20. So this is where Satan is bound. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. All of this is symbolic, remember? He has the power. He has the power to access the bottomless pit. But the bottomless pit is just earth. It's just them being bound here. And he laid on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Well, how was he bound? He's bound because everybody's dead here. There's no one for him to torment. There's no one for him to possess. He is bound in like a prison, doing nothing. He has nothing to do but contemplate his unfortunate, dreary future. You don't want to have to sit there and think about that when you're in the situation where you know that you're lost. You know, you want to be able to do something. You want to be able to work toward your goal to help save yourself. It's really a hopeless situation for them, just as it is for the people that they possess. It's a state of hopelessness. They cannot save themselves, and they can't do anything about it. Let's look at the next example I have here. Afterward, Jesus findeth him in the temple and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. I put this in here because so I put a couple of stories in here about the demons. Let's look at the other one first, and then we're going to take a look at this one. We'll go back to that. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places seeking rest, and finding none, he saith, I will return unto my house whence I came. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. So he's telling you now about the unclean spirits. If he can't find a place to go, he's going to go right back to the house that he came from. And if it's all cleaned up and he's got this hobby now and he done joined the church and he's volunteering at the local food pantry and doing all these good things, and they're rubbing their hands together and salivating, and he goes and gets his friends and says, hey, party over here. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. Now, I thought it was very peculiar that the wording was the same. Very same. Not very same. But very similar to this. Let's go all the way up here to the beginning. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethsaida, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folks, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. Now, I'm going to read the whole thing and then I'll give my commentary on it. When Jesus saw him lie, he knew that he had been now a long time in that case. And he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man. When the water is troubled, I'm sorry. The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man. When the water is troubled, to put me in the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, It is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed. He answered them, He that made me whole, he said unto me, Take up thy bed and walk. Then asked they him, What man is that which said unto thee, Take up thy bed and walk? And he that was healed was not who it was, for Jesus had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward Jesus, finding him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest the worst thing come up unto thee. Now, in the last days, Sister White was saying how, and I read this so long ago, I don't know exactly how it worked, but she was saying how in the last days, what they're going to be doing is the demons are going to be possessing these people, making them sick. And when it comes time for them to be cured, their people, all they have to do is pronounce a cure upon them, and the demon can come out of them and stop distressing them and making them sick. So I want you to look at this again now. It doesn't say this is all a lie. It says that whenever the waters were troubled, for an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. And whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. So whosoever stepped in first, all that angel had to do was tell the other demon to lay up off of him. And this man was impotent. So let's just say it was masturbation that made him sick. If there was an angel that had caused him to be sick and he had gotten in the pool, wouldn't it have just been very easy for him to say, okay, stop distressing this man? Otherwise, why would he say a worse thing would come upon me? I mean, I really want you to think about it. If you, let's say, every time you scratch your arm, you scratch your arm, and you scratch your arm, and you scratch your arm, and you scratch your arm, you get a rash. And that rash heals. Wouldn't common sense tell you that if you started back scratching your arm, and scratching your arm, and scratching your arm, and scratching your arm again, that you would get another rash? You're not thinking you're going to get something worse that's going to come upon you. You're not thinking you're going to get bloody bumps with pus and this, that, and the other. You're thinking the same thing is going to happen that happened before. This man was possessed. I wish I could remember what I read with Sister Wright's writing, but I really don't remember. But that's the picture that I see here. Because he says something worse, lest a worse thing come unto thee. I didn't research it a lot. I don't know. That's just what I think it is. It came to mind. So I figured I would share it. I just was sharing a thought. Okay, I have one more scripture here. Oh, okay. This is another example of an unclean spirit possessing a man. For unclean spirits crying with loud voice came out of many that were possessed with them, and many taken with palsies that were lame were healed. Let's read that again. For unclean spirits crying with loud voice came out of many that were possessed with them. Now, semicolon or colon here. And many that were taken with palsies and that were lame were healed. Oh, that's added in there. I think that's Let's add it. Okay, so let's go back. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven. Satan falls from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given a key of the bottomless pit, where the demons are held back from possessions. That's basically what it is. Let's look up pit. Pit here is just a well. This word pit, it means well. However, in the Old Testament, it's also used as grave, as dungeon, as we'll take a look. I got 14 of them. I think I have more than one. No, it's all pit. Let's look and see what we have. I don't want to forget to say anything, so we'll probably go through all 14. The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou this living water? So this is the occurrence of well in the New Testament. We have to go to the Old Testament for a more thorough definition, because it's only used as well here. It's only used as well. But then this incorporates, I can't remember exactly. Let's look it up together in the dictionary. A hole in the ground, a cistern or well, an abyss, as in a prison, a well, a pit. So yeah, this incorporates all of the definitions that are given or used in the Old Testament, because it's used in several ways in the Old Testament. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. It's Joseph. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. In this case, pit is used as grave. I am counted with them that go down to the pit. I am a man that has no strength. A pit, hole, especially one uses the cistern or prison, cistern, dungeon, fountain, pit, well. Mostly in the New Testament, it's used as a dungeon. It's called a pit very often, and a cistern occasionally, and only a couple of times I think was it used as well. I can't recall, but it's mostly used as a dungeon or a large well. It would say a great well, as in a big well. Well, W-E-L-L, water, for water. Hear me speedily, O Lord, my spirit faileth. Hide not thy face from me, lest I be like unto them that go down into the pit. The lost, basically, is what he's saying. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. And it does say sides of the pit a couple of times. The sides of the pit, it's reserved, like a special place reserved for the worst. That's the context that is used in. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. The grave cannot praise thee, death cannot celebrate thee. They that go down to the pit cannot hope for thy truth. Then I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit, with the people of old time, and shall set thee in the low parts of the earth, in places desolate of old, with them that go down to the pit, that thou be not inhabited, and I shall set glory in the land of the living. Let's see how many more of these we have here. Okay, we'll do all 4. to the end that none of the trees of the water exalt themselves for their height, neither shoot up their top among the thick boughs, neither their trees stand up in their height. All that drink water, for they are all delivered unto death, to the nether parts of the earth, in the midst of the children of men, with them that go down to the pit. Yeah, I wanted to talk about some of this, but I think that it's kind of self-explanatory. This is where, this is 31, where he's addressing Pharaoh here as Satan. I made the nations to shake at the sound of thy fall, when I cast him down to hell with them that descend into the pit. And all the trees of Eden, the choice and the best of Lebanon, all that drink water shall be comforted in the nether parts of the earth, whose graves are set on the sides of the pit, and her company is round about her grave, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, which caused terror in the land of the living. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. Okay. It's the same thing. I just think I'm missing something here. So maybe I did well. Okay, I guess that was what I had. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. I didn't look up furnace. We already know that furnace is affliction. Smoke is anger or wrath. So let's look that up. Okay, I did not save it or something. I don't see it. So I did do it. I remember saving it. All right, let's just do it. There was only like 4 definitions, so we'll just do it again. Smoke. And I remember saving it. It was like, okay, there's 40. Here the Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the cures that are written in the book shall lie upon him. That may have to that may have to be enough. There went up a smoke out of his nostril, and fire out of his mouth. Devoured coals were kindled by it. If we go to this, I think it tells you that is Yahweh that's angry. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven moved and shook because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth. Devoured coals were kindled by it. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why dost thou anger smoke against the sheep of thy pastors? That's good enough. It's anger or wrath from God. And then, I think we're almost done here. The sun, we know that the sun is Yahushua and his word. The air, you guys. Let's take a look at that. That was an interesting one. because I've never actually looked that up before. Now we know that everything is in proximity to its height or its closeness to the heavens. So the air is no different, actually. It's considered the heaven. It's heaven here on earth, basically. I'm gonna make up a fairy tale for you guys. No, I'm not. I could, because these are in order. Maybe they sound exactly like a fairy tale. I remember thinking that. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. This word heaven here is air. Wherein in times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh on the children of the disobedient. This is the spirit. He is the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Okay, well, let's read the next one, since there's a semicolon. Since there's a colon. Anyway, among whom also we all had our conversations in time past, in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. Okay, so he's the prince of the power of the air, and his spirit now works in the children of disobedience, who are fleshly. So likewise ye, except ye utter by the tongue words easily to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For ye shall speak into the air. And as they cried out, and cast off their clothes, and threw dust into the air. See, I need to explain to you first. I need to explain to you first that this is Satan's domain, and this is where he rules. So we already know, we already understand that, okay, the sea are the wicked. The earth is the church. But the earth is also where it says in the beginning, Yahweh created heaven, which is where the angels reside, or the demons, and earth, which is where the people reside. Okay? So that was in the beginning. So the heaven or the air is where Satan reigns. He reigns over the demons. I don't know if there's another verse that tells us that. I've just kind of always taken it for granted that I knew that Satan was over everybody. But that verse is telling you he is the prince of the power, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of the disobedient. And it's Satan's spirit. We know that. We know the spirit is the spirit of Satan, or the spirit of the Antichrist, whatever you want to call it. It all goes back to Satan. That's the beginning of it all. So now that you know that, we can look at the other verses and have a little bit more understanding, because I should have explained that before. Likewise, ye, except ye utter by the tongue words easily to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For you speak into the air. You just speak in tongues, meaningless words of babble. Let's look at the next one. And as they cried out and cast off their clothes and threw dust in the air. Well, is the man of God kicking up dust and knocking over tables? Or is he sitting quietly and patiently in the corner waiting? No, this is the spirit of Satan. It's manifest here. But they're kicking up dust into the air. That's the purpose of it. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Who's throwing their fist in the air? Is that the man of God? No. We run. No. We're fighting a good fight. We're not just throwing fists randomly. And nothingness. It's pointless. The whole thing is pointless. It's all just vanity, like Solomon was saying, all vanity upon vanities, upon which, when I had fastened mine eyes, I considered and saw four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. I put this in there because I noticed that, and I wanted to remind myself because I knew I'd forget, that it almost always says fowls of the air. Rarely does it even say fowls. It always says fowls of the air. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. The host of high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall be visited. The pit, as we looked before, this pit right here, by the way, is not the same word as the word in the bottomless pit. It's the dungeon or the grave. So the earth, the kings upon the earth are going to be gathered together in the grave, and the host of high ones that are on high, they're going to be gathered together as well. They're going to be shut up as in a prison, because they're not going to have anyone to taunt. Their spirits, once they die, they die. So they can't just be, I don't know if they can or not, to be honest with you. But the Bible doesn't teach that. The Bible doesn't teach that the spirit dies. It teaches that it lives on. And so these are spirits. They're going to be gathered together and shut up in it's called a prison, because there's no one there for them to taunt or possess or bother. I can't believe it's taken me 37 minutes to explain this so far. Let's see if we can get through quickly. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." He poured out his vial upon the kingdom of Satan. That's what it's saying. That's pretty much exactly what it's saying, even though it's saying it in different words. I wanted to explain it to you, but it's taken me so long to explain everything else that we'll just move on. This day the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, unto the wild beasts of the earth, and all of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Okay, so I wanted to explain it because it says fowls of the air, and it says in Revelation somewhere, I think it's in Revelation 17, it says every clean and hateful bird. So I thought that was an interesting connection, and that was the connection I wanted to make. That's why I put that in here. So anyway, let's read through this and see if we can get a little bit more understanding now that we've gone through the definitions. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke, anger out of the pit, and this as the smoke of a great furnace, a great judgment, affliction. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke from the pit. Both the sun, the word, and Satan's domain is darkened. The air is darkened as well by reason of the smoke from the pit. So the bottomless pit, you guys, is where demons reside. And I don't really know if this is gonna, what he's doing is, I'm just gonna tell you so that we can move on. They're opening up the bottomless pit, and all of these demons where they reside are set free to taunt and hurt people. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on. That's what the bottomless pit is. Their possessions. They're possessing. They're going to be a great number of possessions during this time. And we're going to go on and we're going to look at the details about it in the next video. But for now, that has to do. We'll review that again, of course, when we go through all of 5 in the next video. Any questions? If I wasn't clear, please feel free to leave a message down below, and I will get back to you if I'm able to help. Yahweh bless.